You know, the old adage they talk about, the MHSAA, you know, silence can never be misquoted. You know, try to keep it, a good rule of thumb is keep it to 5 words or less, right? Just keep it short and sweet. If you're dealing with a coach, you know, let him talk first. Give him his 15, 20 seconds, and then you respond. Signal verbalized to the crew on the 6th foul to indicate that the bonus will foul. If we have to warn a coach or player, let the crew know. If we have a technical foul, at least 2 officials should get together, maybe even 3. Take your time, get the play right. Make sure we get all the kids to the bench is number 1, right? Because things are escalated at this point. So we want to get everybody separated, get them to the bench, get together, talk about it, take a few minutes. Nobody's in a big rush. Get everybody's input, and then move forward. Make sure we have a plan on where we're headed, what we're shooting, whose ball it is. And then if it's really a lot going on, we can send one guy to one bench and send the other guy to the other bench. Explain to both coaches while the third guy either ministers the free throws or gets things going on the court. If we have a technical foul, at least 2 officials. If we have a flagrant foul or double technical foul or any crazy situation, immediately send teams to the bench, give the players time and space to cool off, run the game. If it presents good optics for the game when we get together to discuss potential flagrant fouls, even if you think it is a common foul. Yeah, it can't hurt, you know, just Dave's going to show a play here too where these guys got together and it just looks good. Everybody's, they may not agree with it, but they say, hey, man, those 3 guys got together, talked about it, and that's what they came out with. And at the end of the day or later on when they're watching that film, they really do appreciate that. Let's get in between players and timeouts and then get together to discuss the game's history and recent plays when time allows. You know, we don't want to do it every timeout or every dead ball, but if there is something going on late in the game or something, or you know a kid's acting up, you can always come together real quick and say, hey, watch, you know, red 28 or whatever. Let everybody know that he's on alert. Rapid response for coaches. Coach, talk to me. What did you see? You know, that's a great approach right there, right? And give them 30 seconds to explain it. You know, sometimes they just want to vent. Let them talk first. That kind of calms them down a little bit. And then a good response back would be, I'm very approachable if you have any questions, but please do not yell across the court at me. Or you could say, Coach, with all due respect, by rule, you know, this is what we got to do. Could you slide it up a little bit, Dave?
Yeah.
You might be right. You know, it's okay to, hey, you know, if we kick one, it happens. Come clean. They respect that. You can't do it 5, 6 times a game, but a couple times a game, it's going to happen. We're all human. But, you know, don't try to buffalo your way out of it. That never works. We'll give it a look. I'm here to listen. I didn't have any illegal contact on that play. Tell me what you saw. Again, it kind of puts the ball in their court a little bit, and it calms them down. All right, Dave, you want to go to the next page?
Yeah, there we go.
Only blow the whistle if you're 100%. No guessing. You know, there's a lot right there in that phrase, right? Because I think a lot of times we think we need to call something, or we blow our whistle just because, oh man, that didn't look good. But if you use this adage right here, you know, be 100% and never guess, it'll keep you out of trouble 99% of the time. You know, and you may miss something blatantly obvious, but if you're stacked and you can't see it, you can't guess, and you just got to hope that your partners come in and save you. But never guess. Major officiating concerns: enforce freedom of movement, enforce the hand check, body bumping, post play, call the first foul. That's what we talked about earlier about the meet and greet, rebounding, displacement, possession consequence, cleanup fouls. I know we talked about this a lot last year in these meetings, but you know, the possession consequence thing is a big one, right? Like driving the lane, gets bumped, 2 more dribbles and scores, right? Or drives the lane, gets bumped, and loses the ball. That would be a situation where we would have possession consequence. We've got to put a whistle on that. But if we keep our air low, be patient. If he plays through that bump, you're actually putting him on the. He's getting the short end of the deal because you're stopping that drive. So it's just a good way to keep the game moving. And then if it's a blatant, obviously clean up foul, we got to get those. But make sure we have a possession consequence before we put a whistle on it. All right, Dave.
So is that, you got everything you're going through on that, Don? Is that, it's jumping all over the screen here, so I'm.
Yeah, just that. Can you do the clock awareness one? Yeah, that one right there.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll just wrap this up real quick. Offense initiated contact, referee the defense. We talk about this a lot. Offense initiated contact on a legal defender. If you're spending 85% of your eyes are on the defender, and that defender's legal, we could not pin a foul on the offense. And we don't care what the offense does. They embellish and their head bob and all this stuff, and we could care less. She gets hip checked because she can't get around the girl, and the girl's got 2 feet on the floor, and she's a legal guarding position. We cannot pin a foul on that offensive player. And that's really important to realize. And if you watch the defense, and you're going to be the only guy, except for your other 2 partners in the whole gym, that's going to be watching the defense. Everybody watches the ball, the coaches. That's where all the fun and the action's at. But where the rubber meets the road is watching that defender. And you got to retrain yourself, because as a fan and a coach or a player, we all watch the ball and watch the offense. But as referees, we got to put 85% of our focus on the defense, because the defender is going to tell the story. Traveling, find the pivot foot. We talk about all the time. Left-handed on that floor are right-handed, so that means they're all left. So if you think about that, we're going out on that court, that 90% of these kids are left foot pivoters. That can get you ahead of it a little bit, and that's a good little cheat to realize that I'm always going to be concentrating on the left foot. And when in doubt, we're not going to split hairs. We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he's a left foot pivoter, and try not to pin that right foot down first before he gathers the ball. Screening illegal. Screening should be obvious. Judge them by illegal contact, overt, illegal action. Too wide, butt out, pivoting. And we did cut them a little slack last year. They changed that, so they're going to let them get a little wider now, which is nice. But they have to be impeded too, right? Just 2 kids move and they bump into each other. It may be vicious. It may look bad, but it still just may be incidental. 2 kids bumping into each other. And then if he's moving, or but she does not impede anybody, we can't just put a moving screen on that. So make sure we see the whole play, start, develop, finish, see the impediment, and then put a whistle on it. The hook and hold, those are hard to get, but a lot of times in the lead, you can see, if you really concentrate in your area, concentrate on your players in your area, you can pick some of that up. Protecting the jump shooter's feet, foul, floor, feet, foul, floor, foul. We talk about sequencing these plays: shooter up, shooter down, rebound, and that'll help you stay with that back down. Coaching box, sportsmanship, run the game, draw a line in the. Everybody has a line in the sand. If they cross it, we got to take care of business. We have that warning in the book. It's nice and slick. It's no penalty. It just puts everybody on alert. Both sides, when we walk over there and say, hey, that's a written warning on red coach, it means absolutely nothing, but it does help, and it works really well. But I think sometimes we forget about it. And, we keep letting them talk. And then now it's getting out of hand. Well, if we'd have got that warning in there earlier, maybe he'd have calmed down a little bit. And then we got to jump right to the technical. So It's just a great tool in the toolbox. Throw it out there early. It puts everybody on notice. Don't lower the bar for incidental contact at the rim. Have a high pain tolerance. Start, develop, finish, decide. And that's another one too, just real quick. We just got to let these kids get after it at the rim. They all know now nobody's pulling up for the 8-10 footer. The defender knows he's going to the rim, right? So he gets in to try to get out in front of them, and there's going to be some contact there, but have some pain tolerance. Let them be physical. That's what they want to do in this game. There's no more finesse. But if that defender's legal, we cannot pin a foul on offense-initiated contact on a legal defender. Referee the legality of the defender. Did he establish legal guarding position? 2 feet down facing his opponent. Verticality, moving backwards in the arc, we don't care about. That's arc stuff. Trust your partners. Let's own our third and have the awareness to know when a crew member should come out of their primary. Double whistle, stops and hold. Eye contact, primary official takes it. So we make no preliminary signal, right? We both post with a closed fist, and then we kind of look at each other, give it up to the primary. He shows the block or the charge sign, and signal, and away we go. It'll prevent some of that block charge stuff. Double whistle, post pause process. This will prevent barges and conflicting calls. That's another sequence that you can pick up, put in your toolbox. Post, pause, process. And when they mean post, they're just talking about, when you put your arm up over your head and close your fist. That is a post. And then pause, and then process what you just saw. Discuss block charges over coverage. That's talking about the pass and the crash. The primary area would have the crash. So if we have a play at the rim, the lead has the defender, and then he kicks it out to the corner. The trail, let's just say he's on the 3-point arc on the trail side. The trail would take that kick out. The lead would stay with his the crash, and that's something you can talk about real quick too in a pregame, just to make sure we both are on the same page with that. We can match up 50-50 plays. If we have a charge at one end and it's a 50-50 at the other, we want to make that a charge too. But we can't match plays that are black and white. Know what to do with the gray area. Another good philosophy too, right? Just try to keep them, if they're 50-50s, keep them both charges or both blocks. You kind of process that in your head too. Hey, we had a charge at the other end. Let's make this a charge if it's a 50-50. Step in between every competitive matchup. Get kids separated. All jump shots. Stay with the shooter. Feet, foul, floor. Again, more of that sequencing. Position adjust. Find the open look. Getting that slot, the area between the defender and the offensive player. That's what we call the slot. That's where you want to live. That's where all the action is. We don't want to be behind the player and get stacked. We can't see through players. Let's not blow the whistle when we have a close look. Make sure you always have an open look. And if you don't have an open look, then you're guessing, so we pass. Paint and plays going away and up. The trail and center should ref most plays above or at the rim. Goaltending, basket interference. If you're 100%, anyone can come in and get it. Let's just get it right. And then just, clock awareness. And this is another good one to talk about too, real quick in your pregame is, we want to be at our best with 4 minutes to go. We want to make sure we get eyes on the clock. You train yourself, when you cross a black line, look up and look at the clock, see what it's at. Every time you inbounds the ball, you cross the black line, you look up. And it just helps you train yourself just to have that clock awareness. Signal verbalized to each crew member in the last 2 minutes of the second half or overtime to remind the coach how many timeouts he has during the live ball. Do we know when the clock expires? Are we going on the zeros or are we going on the horn? Most all our gyms go on the zeros, but a couple places like Traverse City Central, they have the clock above the rim, and there you go on the horn. But it's a good thing to talk about too, especially if you know it's going to be a pretty good competitive matchup and it might get tight at the end. But all right, good stuff, Dave. Go ahead.
All right, can everybody see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, so as you guys probably know about the points of emphasis, a lot of what we're going to talk about in some of these plays today is going to contact on the ball handlers. We're going to see quite a few plays that represent contact on the ball handler. So just keep that in mind as we're going through these here, that we're talking about defenders often use their hips, torso, or other parts of the body to displace, redirect, or impede a ball handler's freedom of movement. So keep that in mind as we're looking at these plays tonight. And then the highlighted part here, determinations regarding intentional fouls must be based on the act itself rather than on the intent or verbal instructions from a coaching staff. In other words, if the coach is yelling intentional foul, you guys all know that they're going to foul. They've kind of clarified that this year, so makes it a little easier to be on the same page with that. And just keep that in mind as well. We're going to see some intentional foul situations as well. And so look on this first play right here. Just I'm gonna go through at normal speed, and then I'm gonna go back and go through it in slow motion. See if you can see anything that of contact consequence that you might see. So I'm just gonna play it live here on the free throw. Just look at everything you can. Okay, so clearly. Okay, so now let's go back and just look at this in slow motion. So we'll be able to process this a little bit in more detail. Okay, so we got someone shooting here. Look at the rebounding action down low. Anybody notice anything on that left side block? Just back that up again. Look at the box out down low on the left-hand side there. The blue player is pushing the white player. Now he lets off. And this is what Don's talking about with possession consequence. Did it affect the play? No. But had that ball bounced out over the white rebounder's head, look at this. He's pushing him. He's pushing him. I mean, look where white started. He's way back, he's way back, and all of a sudden he gets pushed way in, but it doesn't affect the play. So it's okay to let something like that go, but sometimes you might have to call that just to set the tone or something. But in this particular play, there's no possession consequence play on. Everybody see that and agree with that? Any thoughts on that? Okay, so just coming on down the court, and it gets kind of cut off here. We don't really see much there. Doesn't look like there's a foul, but maybe it's hard to tell. And then I'm going to pause this in just a second right here. Okay, so now just take a look at the entire screen and think about bench decorum. What do we notice? Anybody notice anything on the bench?
Yeah, teammates white.
Standing.
Yeah, we got two players standing, we got an assistant coach standing, and now in this particular case, it doesn't become a big deal, but it could start becoming a big deal. And it's just, you always have to be aware that if players are standing up during live ball or assistant coach, you have to nip that in the bud right away. Now, maybe this is the first time they've done it all game. I don't know, but it's a 52-46 ball game, and there's excitement going on. The white team's winning, and then we come in, and then what happens next? Okay. Now, what I really like about this play is that what do the officials do? They get together, they talk through this. Okay, so there's a foul. They didn't say it's an intentional foul. It just it's a foul, and now they go immediately and watch how in the slow motion here. Watch how the official from the far side comes in right away. And I think it might even been a double whistle. I'm not sure, but they come in and they talk to each other right away and discuss this potential upgrade. Does everybody agree that that's an intentional foul? Anybody disagree? And another thing that
I feel like this year that there is
a little more wiggle room on that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's really doing it just to stop the clock.
Yeah.
It's not violent in nature. The kid isn't pushed to the floor. He's just stopping the clock.
Right. And that was the reason why for the change, if you ask me, is because too many times we know they're going to foul. They're just trying to stop the clock. And then what happens sometimes is the player goes to stop the clock and the official doesn't call the foul and they got two hands on them and that's all they have. And the whistle's not being blown. And so then they get more and more aggressive. And then pretty soon they end up getting an intentional foul because we didn't do it. So now we know that they're going to, as soon as they put two hands on the body, that's illegal, number one. So if they're on the ball handler, that's two hands. That's an easy call. So I think you're right, Glada. You can, you got a little more wiggle room this year with that type of call for sure. And another thing we got two officials get together. What is the third official doing? Really like this. He's staying back, staying in between the players, assessing, making sure we're not running anything, just kind of keeping an eye on things. We don't want to have all three officials talking about this unless we have the players to the bench. And in this case, these two were handling it. And based on the way the rule was, that's a good call last year. Hopefully what'll happen is the players will learn this. All they have to do is go up and put two hands on, and then the official is going to call that now, so they don't have to begin to push and add a little extra on there to guarantee that the official blows the whistle. So I just thought this was a good example of communication with officials and that gray area of, is this an intentional foul or not? And he pushes him off his spot. Hopefully, we don't experience these kind of calls this year. Any questions, any insight on this before we move on to the next play?
Just real quick, David, another thing I'd say too, and we can't tell if they do here, but just make sure once we go to intentional, get the players to their benches. White's going to have a timeout right here, and blue gets 2-2, right? They just have to be outside the 3-point arc, foul line extended. We can't give White the ability to huddle up and not let blue huddle up.
Right.
Yep. The half court thing is just a misnomer that's been around forever, but there's nothing to do with the half court. They just have to be outside the 3-point arc. So just get both players and coaches and everybody over to their benches and then administer.
Anybody else have anything before we move on? Okay, so now here on this next play is the ball's getting ready to be inbounded. I cut this one off a little bit more than I wanted to when I put this together and didn't have time to go back and redo it. But so look at the clock. So as officials, we have to be clock aware, know how many timeouts are left. I mean, we're looking at this is a close ball game. The white team is down by 3 points. Okay, so we know that they're going to try. When I was coaching, I'm going to tell my players, you know what, we're going for a steal for about 3, maybe 4 seconds at most, and then we're going to stop the clock. We got a foul, but we're going for a steal. Our best chance of winning right now is to get a steal if we can. And there might be other philosophies on that, but my philosophy would be I'm going for a steal. So as officials, we can't assume they're going to foul right away to send them to the free throw line because both teams are in the double bonus now. So you have to just be aware that you don't know what they're going to do, but I'm thinking that they may want to try to play really good defense, get a steal. And we know that both teams are in the bonus and we have information and then we just watch it play out. So just watch this one and see how it plays. Okay, so everybody see what happened there? I'm going to go through it in slow motion now. And Dave, are you on the call tonight?
No.
No, he's not. Okay. So ball gets inbounded. Okay. Playing good defense. Do we have a foul right now? No, we got really good defense. Now look back here at the secondary defensive player right here. He's getting ready to come in. This is probably by design. I mean, this is stuff that teams work on. And so he's coming in, and then meanwhile, the third defender is going to look to try to pick this pass. So once the heat comes on, so see how he's coming up? So they're trying to, if he throws that, we've got it, that's picked off. But meanwhile, the trail official here is, of course, not looking at that. He's just looking, is there a foul or is it good defense? And right now, it looks like nothing's happening, no foul. And then the defender decides he wants to grab from behind and probably wouldn't have gotten an intentional foul had he not put him to the floor if he just tried to reach around and grab the ball. But he doesn't really ever get to the ball. And now he grabs him, throws him, and then makes it easy. Does everybody like that call? Anybody disagree with it? And just being aware of what might happen doesn't mean it's going to happen, but knowing what the options are, knowing that both teams are in the bonus, and they're probably going to try to play good defense potentially, and not to blow an early whistle anticipating a foul that's not there, and denying them of a turnover, which could give them an opportunity to get a quick score and get back in this game. So I just thought that was a good example of, once again, they didn't do a good job of, fouling the offensive player the way they should. So it ended up being an intentional foul. All right, so let's just play this one through here. Take a look at this one.
Anderson gets a screen, goes to the lane, puts the teardrop up, no good. Rebound, Bogan. Now Bogan gets the hold. We'll see if East St. Louis starts to foul. They're going to have to definitely trap. They're probably going to have to put a hand on someone. They tried to foul Jones, no call, and then a foul over on the right side. It'll be Bloxton.
Okay, so let's go through this in slow motion and have a little better idea. So can everybody hear the announcers talking on this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's just back up here. Yep. Let's back up here. And once again, game situation, we have to know it's a close game. Both teams are in the bonus. It says 6 and 6 down here if you look at the scoreboard, 6 on each team. So we know we're double bonus both ways. And we know one team is down by 2. The team that has the ball is down by 2 points. So what do you not want to do as an offensive player? You don't want to give a cheap foul, of course, but you got to play good defense, and you don't want to get a cheap foul and put them to the line to potentially tie the score up. But just look at what happens here. Potential screen. Of course, you always have to watch. Is this going to be in a moving screen? And then it looks like the white player's wrapping his arm around him, but not really doing much. And then the player just goes down the lane. Okay. So you got to make sure, somebody's got to make sure they're officiating this right here and make sure nothing illegal occurs there. Goes down the lane. In comes the defender. Now, did he establish legal guarding position? Number one. So when you're looking at the defender, is he ever in legal guarding position? Now, this one's really, really tricky, because once the offensive player is off the floor, 2 feet on the ground facing your opponent. Right now, I wouldn't say he's got 2 feet on the ground facing the opponent. He moves over, gets close, but I mean, it's like right here. But once again, you got to understand the level of play you're dealing with. Now watch what happens. Okay. I mean, does anybody have a foul on that in any way? Somebody chime in here and help me out. Do you agree that there's no foul? What would you think on teams of this caliber? And we got contact, of course. Goes up. Is he straight up and straight down? He's going into the defender. If the defender was legal, to me, that's just minimal contact. And
yeah, I'm not going to get that one.
Yeah, no, this is big boy basketball. Then on top of that, look what happens on the rebound. Okay, so the shot goes up. Okay, let's go back and watch the shot. Okay, And then the shooter goes back, he goes up and kind of hits a little bit from behind. But I know officials that would call this as, the incorrectly, they call it the over the back, but a push from behind. And then what happens? He tips the ball first. Okay, so let's see that he's up. There's a gap between them. He tips the ball. Incidental contact after that. Nobody is expecting a call at this level of play on that type of play. It's just good athletes battling. No one's complaining because no one wants that called. Now, if you listen to the announcers, they're saying, I wonder if they're going to try to foul. So as they're bringing the ball up the court, how are we doing position-wise here? The C's got to be careful not to get too far away. Okay, so just watch the C here. Making sure that he's able to help so he doesn't get too far away. He's got to keep good angles, and there's always different approaches, but the main thing is that everybody's covered. And so he's watching, he's gradually making his way down. Okay, he's got a good look through. He can see he's in a good position to officiate this play, cross-court pass. Now, what does the orange team do? What's the defender try to do here? Back that up again. So he tries to foul. He's actually trying to stop the clock. He reaches, gets a little bit of the jersey, doesn't affect the play. All right, I'm going to play it live from here and see if you think, does this affect the play or not? And would you call this a foul?
Someone try to.
Okay, anybody got a foul on that?
They're going to have to definitely trap. They probably got to put a hand on someone. They tried to foul Jones.
And then we finally get the foul here. And one of the points of emphasis this year is, no one you cannot penalize. I mean, think about it. The offensive team, what is their goal here? They want to eat as much time off the clock as they can. And the defense wants as little time to come off the floor. So if they're trying to foul, they have to have a foul. I mean, it did not affect, speed, rhythm, balance, or quickness of that player. So it's just play on. That's incidental contact. He tried to foul him. He was reaching for him. Doesn't really affect anything. He goes straight to the basket, gets what he wants, kicks it out. Now here comes another defender comes in, and the official gets the foul there. And this is a film clip from back in 2019. You see he's got a 1-and-1 up. Of course, that's 2 shots now when you're in the bonus, but just so you know, this is an older clip. So it's one that back in the 1-and-1 days still. Everybody agree with that? So just be aware that, if it doesn't, they're trying to foul, but it's still got to be a foul. Just because they want to foul, you can't help them out and make it so it's not, because now you're going to disadvantage the offensive team who's trying to eat time up. So it's got to be a foul, and you got to, just judge when is that foul, when do they cross that line to make it an actual foul. Okay. Any questions on that last one? All right, so let's look at this one. Everybody hear the crowd on that? All right, somebody unmute and help me out with this one here. What do you got on this play? Common foul? No foul? Obviously, there was a lot of contact there. I mean, and what do the officials do? They, so look in the low part of the screen. That was the calling official. He goes to the board. You can barely see it. He points who it was, push. And then we got a switch here. His partner comes over and they switch. Does everybody like that as a common foul, or has anybody got an intentional foul on that? Let's go back and play it again. What do you think? Anybody got any thoughts? I'll tell you what I think on this. At least you have to at least talk about this as being as an upgrade to an intentional foul. I mean, let's back it up and just go through it. I mean, the kid is on the sideline. And this kid comes in and shoulder to shoulder, out of control. He does, reach for the ball. He's reaching for the ball. You can see that, but he still doesn't give him a right to plow this kid into his bench. And he acts like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And once again, look at the score of the game. It's early in the game. This would be a good time to set the tone. If this game gets close and gets physical, it wouldn't be a bad call to go intentional. Or if you don't go intentional, at least talk to number 15 and say, "Hey, you knock that off, man. You're pushing the boundaries there." All right. Anybody disagree with that, or you think that should just be a common foul all the way? I mean, I'd really like to see the officials at least talk to that kid at minimum. And I could easily go with an upgrade here to an intentional foul because he gets him good. I mean, that kid, that's a foul. I mean, it was definitely a foul, no question about that. But just question is it intentional? And do we need to talk about it?
And it doesn't have to, I mean, he hit him hard. He clipped him pretty good. And I mean, the kid gets up and plays again. But the contact is pretty serious.
Yeah.
Whether it's intentional or not, he's coming to play the ball. Looks like he does try to play the ball, but it almost looks like he doesn't even realize the kid's there and just collides into him.
Yep.
That doesn't mean it's not an intentional foul. Obviously the bench didn't blow up and they're not freaking out. So I mean, it didn't hurt anything to just go common foul. But I agree with you. Have a conversation of, hey, you have to put yourself in better position because this could be, and then let the coach know, hey, I had a conversation with him and said, you've got to do a better job of putting yourself in a better position to make a play on the ball because that could easily have been an intentional foul.
Yeah, great, Brandon. Thank you. That's good input. Anybody else have anything they want to say on this one before we move on?
I would just say it mechanically too, real quick. We're not shooting free throws here, so there's really no reason to switch. You get to the 28-foot mark, the center can bring in the subs if there are any subs coming in. The trail's got his back to the table. Just there's no, the reason why we switch in this scenario would be if we're shooting free throws to get you away from the coach. But here, the trail call this, report it, and get it administered and just play on.
Yep. Anybody else? Okay, so this one here is I'm just gonna play it live and just look once again for that illegal contact of the body using your torso, your hands, whatever. I'm gonna let this play through and just look for those types of calls that you could make, or because the whistle's not blown in this sequence early on. Okay, so let's just back that up. I'm gonna go through this in slow motion now so you can see a little better of. Now look what this defender does right here. Anybody have that as a foul potentially?
Yeah, he totally changed his direction with his off arm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So look
straight across.
Yeah, and then look what he does with his leg. I mean, this kind of defense is taught by some coaches out there, and because a lot of officials don't pick up on it because it's not look at his leg. Look what he does with his right leg. The defender, he has the right to move laterally and obliquely, but look what he does with his leg.
Yeah,
he sticks it right in there. Now, is that impeding the progress of the ball handler? Absolutely, it is. Okay, so that's a missed call. He's got his hand on his back there, but doesn't really leave it on there long. So that doesn't really, nothing there as far as I can see. And then we got to watch for the screen by 12. So the ball handler passes it. Now, he can impede the defender here. It's not always just the offensive player getting impeded. It can be the other way. And looks like really nothing there. Now look what happens. And still got the hand. Go right back with another hand. And then right here, this is the subtleties that a lot of times are missed. This is a definite hold, or you could call it hand check, whatever you want to call it. But he puts his hand. I'll play it live. It'll be easier to see when it's full speed here. Let me back it up. Just watch how his hand kind of he hesitates just a little bit. It's very subtle, but it does affect his speed. Right there, he holds him up just a little bit, and then he goes down and misses, and he comes in and gets a frustration foul, which happens all the time. And there were several missed opportunities there of calls that definitely could have affected the play. Everybody agree with that? I mean, that early on that, I mean, this guy, look right there, just, and a lot of times when you go in reverse, so we go through here. Now watch, look how tell me he's not impeding right there. And he throw his arm out there. And a lot of times we as officials, we don't call that when they stick their arm in. Here he's sticking his arm and leg. But a lot of times they stick that arm in there and slow him down right there. And we let that go. And we got to determine if it affects the play or not. And this one, I mean, it wasn't just the arm, it was the leg too. And he cut him off and impeded him big time. Come back, and then multiple hands on the ball handler here. And just watch it live again and see if you can pick up on when it holds him up just a little bit. Right there. Now it's subtle, but every little bit gives an advantage to the defender, and those are the kind of calls that you have to be consistent with as a crew and try to make sure that if you're letting them play through that kind of stuff all game, well, that's fine because that's what you're doing. But that's what they're trying to eliminate, that kind of stuff, and you got to be consistent no matter how you slice it. Any thoughts on that play? All right, let's go on to the next one, and see, we've got that odd noise in it. And just tell me what you have on this. Is this a good no call, or is this one that could have been called? Okay, everybody see that contact? Okay, so let's back this up again. Okay, so now this is two very aggressive teams getting after it. It's early in the game, we're at 6-13 in the first quarter, and you're kind of setting the tone for the game on how much you're going to let the girls play. So good defense here so far. Potential screen right there could be illegal. Now we got a double team. Does anybody think that her speed, rhythm, balance, or quickness was affected on that play? I'll play it live again because when it's in slow motion, sometimes it doesn't give, it's harder to see the full effect of it.
Yeah, the defender comes right out and just, there's a collision there.
Yeah, the defender's definitely moving towards, I mean, you can't move. You can move obliquely, side to side. You can go back, you can go up, but you can't.
Yeah, right. That's a collision.
Yeah, exactly. And so they let it go. And
yeah,
if that's called on the other end, the next play down the other way, and they call that a foul, I'm going to wonder why they didn't call it here.
Yeah.
But she's definitely moving towards her, and she is affected. I mean, she's barely hanging on. She's, now there wasn't a possession consequence, but once again, you're telling the players that it's okay to be aggressive and make contact now. So now you either got to clean it up right after this whistle and make, it's, I mean, if I'm a player, I'm thinking, man, I can be real aggressive now because that was clearly contact, and it was contact, not incidental. That the defender was moving towards the ball handler. I mean, she clearly goes in and disrupts her, and that could have been an easy call to make. They let them play on, and this is, I think, a quarterfinal game. So it's, now you got to be consistent. You can't go down on the other end and let, call a tic-tac foul when you let that go. So it's, anybody else have any insight?
The other thing too, when that division line is getting pressure, you got to get up there. The trail's a little bit too low here. it's almost like he or she gets kind of caught off guard a little bit on this
Yeah.
play. You
Yep.
see,
Yep, you're right,
she
John.
needs to be 10 feet back. Like she should be at the division line right now.
Yep. I get a better angle, and sometimes it's hard to tell if, if you're trying to see through bodies, you can't, if you had a see-through look, it would be much easier to determine a foul or a play on. Anybody else?
Hey, look at the center official.
Uh-huh.
She's like standing over there like, hey, just because there's 8 players over there, I should move.
Right. Yeah, could step out a little higher maybe, before it got down here. Yeah, it's the trail is it's hard to see here on the screen. You can't really see where the trail is, but I remember looking at that, and the trail is in the back court, and could have a much better look at that. And yeah, you gotta be engaged much as
Yeah,
possible.
the trail is officiating 7 players, and the C is standing off there, kind of in no man's land.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
7 bodies up there by the division line.
Yep. Could step up and get a better look at it. So here's the trail. So now we can see the trail. So the trail's actually got a good look right here. They come down. So the trail's in a good spot right here. So I don't know if we lose him when we get to that foul part. Okay, so the trail's actually in a decent spot to get that foul coming up.
See, right here, you should be backing up.
Yep, he should back up to get that angle. Yep,
Move to improve. The 28-foot mark is not.
Hang out. That's a starting point, and yeah, you got to get the best angle. He should have been stepping back towards us, the midcourt line here to get as better angle as he can. And they let him play on. So, anybody else have any input? All right, so now I just wanted to, since we're getting ready to kick off the varsity season coming up here in a little bit, I thought it'd be good to talk a little jump ball action. And so let's look at this jump ball and see what you notice on this one. A little top-down action. Okay, did anybody notice anything on that jump ball? Go through it. Let's just go through it in slow motion. The tossing official, what does he do? Crosses right in front of the defender. Now, I don't know if he realizes they're coming, but you have to be aware. I mean, at the start of a game, and this is the Illinois High School, Association State Fine. This is, one of the big games. And so he runs through, and the defender comes up. He's ready to go. Now what do you notice? Who's watching the ball? Has anybody got eyes on the ball? The only one that could possibly have eyes right now would be who? The only one that could possibly have eyes on this thing would be the lead. Yeah, and you don't want the lead making a call.
Basket.
Yeah, so if that defender comes up and gets real aggressive, and this happens, people come out, they're jacked up, so they come out and try to make a steal right away. You're going to have no clue because the C and the trail both have their, and this is, the C's getting into position. It's not the C's job to watch this right now. That's not, this should be the trail's job to stay with this. C's coming down. I can look. He's got to look for action off the ball and stuff. And we've got nobody watching this really, except the trail. And if something bad happens, that's not a good look if he makes a call. Okay, now take a look at this jump ball. Okay, so now, what's the difference between that one and this one? Okay, let's just go through slow motion here. Nice toss. They want to throw it to the peak. Just started coming down, straight up, great toss. What does the official do, the tossing official? Very patiently just waits. No hurry to get to their spot because this is the best look you could possibly get right now. Okay, they can see through. Back starts to work her way around. Still got a good look on things, still got a good look. Should start moving across the midcourt line. Still got a good look, so you can see right here. Should start moving in now. Just a very patient, we can't be in a hurry to get to our spot and then miss having our eyes on the ball. So I just wanted to point that out, that when you toss that ball, it's okay to look around a little bit and let it sort out and make sure you're staying with the ball and that the ball has eyes on it at all times by the trail official in that case. All right. We got one more here, I do believe. And you better put on your thinking caps for this one. Okay, I'm just going to play it live for you, and let's have some fun with this one.
Daylon Allen left to the key. Step back. Medlock. Yes. Whistle foul. And it's going to be a chance for a point player.
Yeah, and I think, well, Red Thomas the fourth was trailing that the whole way, and watch it. He comes around, and this Abraham Rookstick pops him on the screen. And the question is now, which happened first, the shot or the foul?
No shot.
Offensive foul called. And that's the limit right now for Wayne Memorial. So do the Cavaliers shoot? That's the question here. This could wind up being a 5-point play.
What's the bonus and wait for?
No.
Are they shooting? Is it bonus?
No bonus, I guess. That was the 5th foul.
Okay, let's back this up again and let's just go through it in slow motion for a little bit so we can just see it and we'll talk about this. So basically, what do we have here? Someone help me out here. What did you see when we played this live? We had a whistle on a shot. And a foul being called, on the whistle, let's just keep an eye on the official in the C position. Okay, so now we've got a screener, pretty wide. Look at the shooter. And look at the official in the bottom right, or the C rather. When does he make the call? Okay, so was the shot, when the official blew the whistle, was the shot off or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely released.
Shot was almost in the basket.
Yeah. And so calls it right here, ball's in the air still. All right, so whistle occurs. And then you can see the official in the trail over here is holding up a 3. He's not calling a foul, but he's supposed to signal that was a 3. He's letting his partner know that has a whistle. This is good officiating right here. Just making sure that they know it's a 3. I had a 3 on that. And of course, the shooter's saying, yeah, it's got to be good. I don't care what the call is from here, but my shot's good. He's doing his thing, which I don't blame him there. I'd do the same thing. And so everybody's looking around like, all right, how's this going to get sorted out? And as we keep going, just keep watching things. There's the replay again. Number one, is it a foul? I mean, does everybody agree that this is an illegal screen? Is this a good foul call? So you have to make sure, you got to, to me, I can see there's enough contact there for me to see the foul. I get the call. He's really wide, and then he kind of puts his, is it's a defender trying to avoid the contact. It's like he might be trying to just get around there as best he can. I have no problem with the call. Now the question is, how do we sort it out from here? And what did they do? What was the final result that they came up with?
They called a foul and then counted the bucket.
Yep, they called a foul.
They got the ball. They got the ball out of bounds at the 28 or the point of interruption. Looks like.
If they talked about it, this is good. Anytime you have this is atypical. This isn't a kind of call you see every game necessarily. It does happen throughout the season, but they talk it through. What are some things they're going to talk about here? Is number one, was the ball released? Was it before the release? And how does that affect things? And where does the ball get taken out of bounds? Where did the foul occur? And you can see the official in the
Is it player control or not? I'm sorry. Is it team control or not? Right? Is another big question you got to ask.
Yep, and that's what we're going to get to right here. And you can see the official in the center there. I think he starts pointing. We're going to take the ball out on the sideline. They're still sorting it out a little bit. He's pointing to, we're going to take it out right over there. Now watch the official that reports. He goes, bucket's good. So we know the basket's going to count. So if the basket counts, then what does he do? Got a block. We got a team control foul. It goes behind his head, which tells us that's team control. We're going the other way. Now the big takeaway here is, when does team control end? And now look at the coach. Before we get to that, look at the coach here. He's trying to figure things out. Everybody's a little confused. The officials, you can see the official says, Coach, the basket's good. Watch him. He's going, Coach, basket's good. So Coach, his temperature goes down real quick. He's feeling better. Now watch what he does. This is a good coach. Now he's listening. He's going, watch him. He's going to start asking for something here. He's thinking, I'm shooting free throws. Okay, well, my guy got fouled. We're in the bonus. He's asking, do I get to shoot free throws? I'm not sure what the official said, what his response was, but coach seemed happy with it, whatever it was. But was it the right call? Okay, so let's just go back again. He makes the call there. So when does team control end? Who can tell me when does team control end?
On a try.
Yeah. Once the ball's out of his hands, there, the team control is ended. So now, right here, when that ball is released, right there, team control is ended. So White no longer has team control. So any fouls that occur after the release, it's a common foul. Everybody agree with that?
Okay.
And the official goes and reports it as a team control foul. Now, maybe there's stuff they discussed. Maybe they saw it differently than, we get the luxury of, a replay here. So, I'm not criticizing these guys. These guys are, this was an outstanding game. Excellent. The officiating was top notch throughout this thing. But I happened to see this and it just, I picked up on this and I thought, wow, this is a great, great discussion. And can you have a player control foul or a team control foul and have the basket count? Because that's what happened here, right? They called player control, or in this case it'd be team control, because counted the basket. Here it is. He's clearly saying we've got this illegal screen right here. We've got a block on the offensive player. Okay, so the basket counted. And then why isn't there a 1-and-1? Well, the officials are saying it's not 1-and-1 because why? Well, because it was a team control foul.
Right.
But was it a team control foul? So it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense that we have that call. You call team control foul, the basket can't count.
The basket could count because it's not on the offensive player that shot the ball. That's not who the foul was on. So the basket would count, because we don't want to confuse team control with player control.
Right.
A player control foul, you'd have to wipe it off, but you would not have to wipe it off on a team control foul. It's off ball. And that's why it's so tricky. But I think what happened here was, you know, he acknowledged this legal screen before. If you really watch it, the legal screen happened before the ball was released.
Right.
But he doesn't blow his whistle until the ball is released.
Right.
So I think during the discussion, they probably said, you know what? But I had the illegal screen before the shot, right?
Yep.
So the shot would count, and then we're going to go team control, go out of bounds. Probably what they ruled, even though we know that there's the foul and the ball's still in his hand, right? The problem is he doesn't blow his whistles till another, 3 or 4 more seconds.
Yeah, it's a delay whistle because you got to process this thing. I mean, this is easy to see it, you know, when we slow it down. But yeah, so he's probably processing it and looking at it, and
I think that's where he went with this. We don't know, but if that's the case, you know, you can say, okay, that's fair. But
it was a safe
until like right now, you know. So
yeah,
it's close for sure. And let's pick that up live and to know exactly.
Good stuff.
And it was safe, you know. I mean, of course the coach asked, "Are we shooting free throws?" No, coach. It was a team control foul. You don't shoot free throws on that. Okay, we get the ball, but it's still, we're in the bonus now. Moving on.
Yep. So it just, you know, nobody seemed to really argue it. And what looks good is that the officials get together and talk about it.
Absolutely.
I mean, if one official makes that call and just goes over and reports it and says, "I've got this all by myself," well, that's a lot of confidence on a play like that. And it was
especially in that venue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you got a lot of eyes. There's a lot of cameras going and talking this through. And I tell you what, if you really want to watch a good, excellent officiated game, this game these officials were outstanding. And I'm guessing probably some of them are college officials on this crew. I don't know that for sure, but I don't know any of them, to be honest. But I know that they were really good, and they managed that game. And this is big time basketball right here. And coach is working it. You know, he's kind of trying to sort things out himself. I just got a good laugh with it. I just thought it was
good stuff.
I thought it was a good thing to talk about and just be aware. But one of the big takeaways for this is, when does team control end? Okay, so team control ends when that ball is released. Now there's no more team control at that point. So anyway, anything else? That's the last one I have. I thought that was a really good one to end with, because I get this thinking. And if you ever get in that situation, step number one is to bring the crew together and talk about it. I mean, and try to sort out the timing of everything and just make sure you cover as many bases as you can, because that's really difficult live to sort that out. And the officials, did a good job of controlling things and making decisions based on information from everyone. And coach seemed happy, and I didn't hear anybody yelling from the stands as far as I could tell. I mean, that's a tough one, but they handled it probably as well as you could given the situation. So anything before we sign off?
Good stuff, David. Thank you.
All
It's
right,
past, it's past Uncle Jimmy's bedtime. He's got to go to bed.
Okay.
All right, thanks guys. We'll see you next Sunday. Appreciate everybody coming out.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. Bye now.
Thanks.